reach out to you all day. Are we on for tonight? Jeez.
Oh, shoot. Keegan's been texting me. Sorry, dude. Missed your texts. I assumed we'd meet at the bar. Whatever. I don't care.
Sorry, dude, missed your texts. I assumed we'd meet at the bar. Whatever, I don't care. Whatever, I don't care? Do you even want to hang out?
Do you even want to hang out? Oh, that's considerate. Like I said, whatever.
Like I said, whatever? You
Are priceless. Aww. You're the one.
one who's priceless? This. Okay. You want to go?
Right now? Huh. Guess I could do that. Okay.
Okay, let's go. He said, okay. Okay, let's go. All right, you know what? You know what? You want to really
Do this now? Keegan, you nut. You're not putting me out.
Yeah, let's do it.
First round's mine.
Oh no! Oh no, there ain't gonna be no rounds. It's gonna be a street fight. This son of
Because tonight we gonna party over party
a. No!
Buddy! Like I said, first round's mine, a beer and a gimlet. For my partner, Ray. What's that?
I got you a baseball bat with nails in it.
For my post-apocalyptic Jackie Robinson costume, how did you know?
So that clip is honestly one of the funniest things. I've played that for our management team several times, and I'm excited to talk about it a little bit today because I think just messaging and chatting and texting, communication in general, there's just so many different ways to interpret this.
Good stuff. He really has played it a lot. He played it like 3 times earlier. We were just cracking up a second ago because it's funny. But man, oh man, is it true? It's kind of hard to read text and chat sometimes.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you do look at Key and Peele and the miscommunication that they're having, there is an uncensored and a censored version. So feel free to play it for your family, but maybe look at the censored version first.
Good call out. Good call out.
Yeah, thanks. Because there's been a time where I had to double check. But I just love where he's, whatever, I don't care. And the other side is like, whatever. I don't care. But it seems to happen a lot, Riley, in communication and the tone setting, the tone and the interpretation. Because I may be messaging you, being all happy, and like, oh my gosh, we're going to do this. And then you're interpreting it as,
okay, whatever. Let's go. You want to go?
Absolutely. It's just it's boiling down to a lot of that. In your text messages. So
it's hard.
There are ways, though, to be better in group chats. And I think a lot of this is for our team and the communication-wise, we use a lot of group chats and a lot of texting because, let's face it, people don't call on each other anymore.
Oh, gosh. I haven't checked how many minutes I've used since probably before I was born.
Well, it's funny. That actually used to be a thing, how many texts you could send. And, I would always have to text after 7 p.m. Was that?
I remember that.
Yeah?
I like to think I'm a young millennial. So like I'm right at that line right there between millennial and Gen Z.
Sure.
So I remember CD players. I remember MP3 players. I remember not having a smartphone. But now it's a lot harder nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and we do. We communicate, and we communicate in this fast-paced environment. We always want to update. We always want to text. We always want to give out that information. Regardless, there's a lot of messaging and a lot of ways to interpret that. Because if I'm in a bad mood or I'm having a bad day, I'm going to interpret a lot of your messages in that way, right? It's not about the person who's sending it. It's about the person who's receiving it. So there are some best bets, right, as far as how we can better communicate and make sure that we, I guess, are not leaving it to as much interpretation. Where there's like, well, you're priceless, right? Like you're priceless, right?
No,
like
you're priceless.
The whole video, like listen to the clip again, right? And listen to the first 2 minutes again.
We'll throw in some clips. We'll put in that one right now.
Yeah.
Ready? You're priceless.
You are priceless. Aww. You're the
One who's priceless? This.
But ultimately, how do we limit the interpretation? Because like I said, not everybody's going to call everybody, and I think there's a few different ways, and I've listed a few different ways. One of the biggest ones, especially as a leader, is to know when to take it offline. Right? Like know when, like if we're in a chat, Riley, and it's feeling a little heated, I might want to message you separately. Hey, give me a call. Hey, I'm sorry if that upsets you. I'm sorry. Like, let's have that conversation at that point out of the group chat. And I think sometimes I see it. I see it from an HR standpoint. I see it in our chats. We allow those things to kind of just happen a little too much.
Right. And then everybody else sees it too. And who's maybe they're not having, or maybe they're having a great day. And then
now they are.
Now they see like, ooh, something's going on in the group chat.
Right.
But I think I did that the other day to you.
Yeah.
I think I read it, and I wasn't necessarily in a bad mood, but I was like, So I just messaged you separately. We good?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, we're good. And I was like, cool.
It's kind of like that popcorn meme that you see, right? Where the people are like, oh, you got the group chat going and they have that popcorn thing.
The popcorn meme?
Yeah, because now between if you and I are fighting over a group chat, like everyone else is being entertained.
Yeah, they're just popcorn meme. I like it.
Also, I think in group chats, we need to focus on keeping those positive. Right? Because you're in an environment, especially with the restaurant environment that we're in, how do we keep the messaging encouraging, positive, even a little humor along the way? Because the chats are there just to simply spread some communication, not necessarily to always get your points across.
Right. Yeah, group chats especially, the group chat etiquette. Be clear, be funny, be lighthearted, cool, give direction, but that's not the place where you want to have a conversation with somebody.
Do you have that person who just like bolds everything? Like, is that not as much of a thing? It used to be a thing.
Not bold, but we were just at Disney on vacation, and my mom texted me, and she doesn't normally do this, so it was funny, but it was in all caps, and she's like, "We're over by the water," and I'm just like, don't yell. And she goes, sorry. So then I got her the next day and I texted her. I said, we're by the water.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to go.
But I'm going to tell you, some people don't know that that's what that means. I just learned some acronyms over the weekend that I'm going to tell you, like, they're not good ones, right? But not everybody understands acronyms or punctuation or things like that. So I think there also has to be that humorous, nonchalant side of it. Because if you are texting me with all caps, you may not know you're yelling, but I know you're technically would be yelling at me. So that actually brings up emojis, right? Like, I'm not a huge emoji guy. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but I'm starting to use them a little bit more.
A little bit.
Because I think in communication, we can actually use the emojis to our advantage, right? If you give some people don't like the thumbs up, right? But like overall, how do you know that the message was received?
I don't mind the thumbs up. It's more of a like, hey, got it.
Yep.
Right?
And that's what it's designed for.
Right. Yeah. But if it's like because I think other people can think of it as like a K. You ever gotten K'd?
Yeah.
It's just like, I just told you something super, whatever important, and you just okay. People can take it that way they too, and everybody takes everything differently. So I think you also need to know your team and what emojis or punctuation or whatever. Maybe they like being yelled at with capital letters. I don't know.
And they might, but I think it's okay to use emojis. It's okay to acknowledge the messaging. It's okay to give a thumbs up to let them know that you've got it. In fact, honestly, as a sender of messaging, it's helpful once in a while. Hey, they did read it. They got it. And now when I talk to them in person, maybe I can elaborate a little bit more. Also, I think sometimes we respond too quickly in group chats. Have you ever had it where like you send a message and then like there's people, I don't do it as much. I don't know if I'm that person. Maybe I am. But it'd be like you send just thoughts, like 10 thoughts in a row, like message after message after message.
No, I do not like those people.
I don't like that either.
I know sometimes I am.
It happens.
But what you're talking about is the extreme where it's literally like they're finishing their sentences but hitting send after like each thought.
Yeah.
Where it could have been one message. But that's just how they think and how they come up with the content or come up with the information. Where I'm definitely more of a let me script this out like a frickin' paper that I'm turning into my English professor. Like I'm like punctuation, capital, and space and I'm one message.
And I agree. I think just but maybe that's us. But from everything I've read, right, it's better not to be that person, right, to put your thoughts in there. And if you feel a message could be interpreted differently, like take a second before hitting send. Like that's the lessons that I had to learn over the years is because I'd be like, what's wrong with this or what's up with that? And really I just wanted to know a little bit more. But because I didn't add emojis or emotion into, like emojis are just more about the emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't add the emotion into the text message, you're going to take it however you want to take it. And I think that can really set some of that tone and culture, right? Piece that we talk about. So how do you want to be interpreted as a leader? What kind of culture do you want to set? And that goes back to keeping things a little bit more positive, right? Because group chats, they can be formal, but a lot of it's meant to be a little bit more casual, right? We're just sharing ideas. We're expressing what we want to do. So be, I think, mindful of that. And then also people might be a little too sarcastic in some of the chats. So I think it's okay to have, once again, have those side chats with people about that communication.
Like, hey,
how you
that meme
interpreted
was a little too far, or
Yeah.
that was a little,
Yeah.
Just have those conversations with your team, of course.
Right. What I liked about the video, the Key and Peele video, because obviously throughout the first minute and a half, minute 40 seconds, it's a lot of just humorous back and forth of interpretation, right? One guy being super happy, one being super mad. But when they get to the bar, I don't know, like if pay attention to the end where they get to the bar and he walks in and he's ready to fight, and the other guy's like, "Hey, order my round, right? First round's on me."
Yeah.
And just notice how everything just changed. The whole, because all of a sudden we're in person and interpretation can't be interpreted so much through text messages, he now understood exactly the whole conversation that was supposed to be happening to begin with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great call out. Because it's like, I got you back. And then even the other guy's like, how'd you know I was doing a Jackie Robinson costume or something like that? Still being happy and positive and go lucky.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, I almost just beat you up.
Yeah. And just to take that one little step further before we kind of just, blend this in, people are a lot more vicious through text messaging than in person.
Well, it's social media in general, too.
Yeah.
Behind a screen.
The keyboard warrior
Yeah.
type thing. So I would just be cautious when you're talking to your team, subordinates, peers, right, bosses, whatever. Depending on what you're going to put in text message, be ready to actually have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Be ready to be okay with talking about that, because it's really easy to send out nasty grams, right? But you got to back that up in a professional coaching way where you can't be misinterpreted maybe at that point, especially face to face.
Yeah, I was like face to face for sure, but I was also say don't be afraid to pick up the phone, which I know, if you're calling your boss because your boss just made you feel a certain type of way, or you interpreted what the boss said a certain type of way, you might not want to call your boss.
Yeah.
But I got you. Eight out. I'm making up facts. I'm not gonna make up facts.
No.
I bet you though, it's probably just a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where being just a little bit more mature about it, right? Like if you're feeling a certain way, hey, can we just talk? Can you give me a call about this when you have time? I just want to make sure I'm not misinterpreting you. Like I've said that plenty of times. Like give me a call when you have a chance. I might be misinterpreting this message. It's okay to say
totally
that.
fine.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to put it too,
Yeah.
because it's equally disarming. It's like, hey, I just want to make sure that I'm not looking at this wrong, and if I'm not looking at it wrong and you are yelling at me,
Yeah, sure.
then I still need to know, or whatever.
That's when you throw out that angry face emoji. Yeah, there's so. I mean, yeah, there's just so much out there. But I think group chats are cool as long as we kind of have some ground rules, and when it does feel like it's becoming a little overwhelming or maybe that negative mindset, reel it in, take those conversations offline. It's best to have conversations in person or phone call, but we know that can't always be the case.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing this video, Eric. It was a good laugh. We are trying a new flow of content here. So again, please let the feedback flow. We need to know if we're on the right track here.
Right.
So.
Absolutely one of my favorite ones. Use it in your meetings. Use the censored version.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Riley.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.